Oh, hi, we started.
Yeah.
Hi. Welcome to Fun and Friends. I'm Avalon.
I'm Sabrina.
I'm Jasmine.
And welcome to the channel.
Hello, welcome.
All right, back to book 2 of School of Good Evil.
After being popular and requested.
So just a recap of chapter 1. Sophie, when you first come in, is making a play. And you realize that they've actually been back. So the headmaster said if they broke the curse, they got to go home. They've been home for about 9 months now. And it is very clear that Sophie is definitely making herself seem like the angel and the hero of the story in their little play. And, it's pre-production. And we get to really dig into Sophie and Agatha's back history. So you get to learn about Sophie and her family, how her mom passed away and how her dad was actually having an affair with mom's best friend and had 2 children with him. And during their year away at school, she has moved in with them and her boys. And and Agatha, as much as she loves her mom, she's not feeling the same comfort that home used to bring, and she's missing Ted Rose and starting to dream of him and stuff. So, or daydream of him rather.
Yeah. His chiseled chest.
So their desire to get back home from the first book didn't span as well as they, I guess, were hoping. So we'll see.
So if they were going to do a movie of this, I was just thinking about this while you were saying that. If they were going to do a movie of this, who do you think they should cast as Ted Rose?
I think that's a very age-dependent situation.
Well, I mean, for our age.
Because you don't know.
The guy off of TikTok.
The guy off of TikTok? Which guy?
Oh, no, she's saying pick a guy off TikTok you would.
No, I think she has a specific guy.
Okay.
I was thinking Alex Pettyfer, like younger Alex Pettyfer.
But he's not young anymore, so they have to cast him now.
But okay, fair enough. Like,
they could make the guy from Maze Runner.
That one. Oh, yeah, that one.
Which one?
The guy who pretends to be Tamlin
This one.
Okay.
I can't play it.
I can see it. But I can see him doing that.
Why can't you show the audience?
But you
it's copyright infringement if I have them.
But
here.
we can say what his username is. Okay. It's Hey It's Stuart. Hey It's Stuart on TikTok.
On TikTok.
He likes to do a lot of Sarah J. Maas stuff where he pretends to be Tamlin. No spoilers for her though. She just finished the first book, so
be careful what you say in the comments.
Yep. So be careful what you say in the comments about Tamlin and stuff that goes on in the following books. But anyway,
follow him. Follow him.
Free advertising over here.
See, but I like the guy who dresses up as Rstand.
I haven't seen him.
Is that the one who dressed up as Spider-Man too?
No, there's this really hot guy who dresses up as Rstand. Oh my god. Oh my lord. He's got like bright blue eyes, black hair, like
I have seen him.
You've seen him? With like the tattoos. I'm like, oh man.
I have seen him. I have, and I quickly swipe away. Too cute.
You're like, this is dangerous. Okay. Anyway, to the book. After too much talk.
I'm a married spud.
Well, technically you're not married.
I'm not married.
So there is a chance.
Take spud. That's probably Toy Story. But I don't know. I go on TikTok probably maybe once every 2 to 3 months these days.
I know. I send you a bunch of stuff.
I know. When I go on, I basically watch your 150 videos. And then I get burnt out. And then I'm like, okay, I'm done for the day.
You need to do more Chewie videos. I used to do a lot of cosplays with Chewie. Mostly Star Wars stuff, but I want to try and do some more stuff with him eventually. Maybe during the summer. All right. To the book, after being distracted many times. Chapter 2, Agatha makes a wish too. Blood. It smelled of blood. Eat. Smashing through the trees, the beast hunted her scent, grunting and slobbering on all fours, claws and feet pounding the dirt faster, shredding vines and branches, bounding over rocks until they could hear the breaths and see the trail of red. One of them was hurt. Eat. Through the long, dark, hollow trunk, it slunk, licking up the blood, smelling its terror. The beast took its time, for now they had nowhere to go, and soon it heard their whimpers.
from what we talked about earlier before we filmed, this is happening in the same realm
No.
as...
No.
No?
No. Not this book. That book.
That one, okay.
Yeah, we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
Were you trying
When we do our another
Yeah.
book. Yeah, she was getting book confusion there.
Mm-hmm.
We still have to work on that book after this book.
No
when
worries.
this one leaves.
No worries.
We got a busy recording day here.
All right.
Blood, and chasing something that's whimpering.
Blood, and
Bit by bit, they came into view, silhouetted in the moonlight, trapped between the end of a log and a thick patch of briars.
Beast right here. He's improving.
He's enjoying his weekend before he has to go back to work. Oh, the hard time. The older boy, wounded and pale, clutched the younger to his chest. The beast swept them both up and held the boys as they cried. Snuggled in briars, the beast rocked them gently until the boys stopped weeping and knew the beast was good. Soon the boys breathed heavier against the beast's black...
That was not how I expected that scene to go.
Could we not?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Mom says no speaks.
Tell him I love him and to go lay down.
We love
No
you.
speak time.
Go lay down. Thank you, sir.
You look so sad.
We'll play later. Not now. Soon the boys breathed heavier against the beast's black breast, nestling deeper into the arms, hugging him tighter, harder, bonier, until the boys gasped awake and saw Sophie's bloody smile. Sophie flung up from bed and knocked over her bedside candles, sputtering lavender wax all over the wall. She whirled to the mirror and saw herself bald, toothless, pockmarked with warts. "Help!" she choked, closing her eyes. She opened them. The witch was no longer there. Her beautiful face was back to her. Panicked, Sophie checked her shimmering white skin for warts, wiping away the cold film of sweat. "I'm good," she calmed herself when she found none. But her hands couldn't stop shaking, her mind racing, unable to shake the beast that had killed in the world far away, the beast that had haunted her dreams. She thought of her rage in the graveyard, Agatha's petrified face. "You'll never be good," the schoolmaster had warned. Sophie's mouth went dry. She'd smile at the wedding. She'd work at Bartleby's. She'd eat the widow's meat and buy the toys for her sons. She'd be happy here, just like Agatha.
Little does she know.
Little does she know,
She's not
Agatha
happy.
is not happy.
Look at her trying to put on a brave front. Her determination.
She's trying. She will be good. Anything
Believe in you.
to not be that witch again. "Good," she repeated in the silence. The schoolmaster had to be wrong. She saved Agatha's life, and Agatha had saved hers. They were home together. The riddle was solved. The schoolmaster was dead. The storybook closed. "Definitely good," Sophie assured herself, snuggling back into her pillow, but she could still taste the blood. The fog and winds of the night cleared to a blinding sun so strong for November that the day had seemed blessed for love. Every wedding in Galveston was a public occasion, but on this Friday the shops were all closed and the squares deserted, for Stephen was a popular man. Under a white garden tent beyond the house, the entire town mingled over cherry punch and plum wine as three fiddlers strummed in the corner, exhausted from playing a funeral the night before. Agatha wasn't sure if her dumpy black smock was appropriate for a wedding, but it still suited her mood. She'd woken up miserable and couldn't put a finger on why. Sophie needs to be happy, she told herself as she tromped down the hill, but by the time she joined the crowd in the garden, her frown was a scowl. She needed to snap out of it, or make Sophie even more depressed. A flash of pink surged through the crowd, and a bear hugged her in a poofy ruffled gown. "Thank you for being here on our special day," Sophie cooed. Agatha coughed. "I'm so happy for them, aren't you?" Sophie mooned, dabbing non-existent tears. "It'll be such a thrill having a new mother, 2 brothers, and a shop each morning to churn..." She gulped. "Butter." Agatha gaped at Sophie back in her favorite dress. "You're pink again." "Like my loving good heart," her friend breathed, stroking her pink ribbon braids. Agatha blinked. "Did they put toadstools in your punch?" "Sophie!" Both girls turned and saw Jacob, Adam, and Stephen trying to fix a cricket blue tulip garland over the altar in front of the tent. Standing on pumpkins to reach, the boys beckoned her with waves. Such little munchkins, aren't they? Sophie smiled. I could just eat both of them. Agatha saw her friend's green eyes chill with fear. Then it was gone, and only traces left behind were bruised circles beneath them. Nightmare scars. She'd seen them on Sophie before. Sophie, it's me, Agatha said gently. You don't have to pretend. Sophie shook her head. You and me, Aggie, that's all I need to be good, she said, voice shaky. She clasped Agatha's arms and looked deep into her friend's dark eyes. As long as we keep the witch inside of me dead, everything else I can bear if I try. She gripped Agatha tighter and turned to the altar. I'm coming, boys, she shouted with a strained smile, swept off to help her new family. Instead of feeling touched, Agatha felt even more miserable. What's going on with me? Her mother came up beside her and handed her a glass of punch, which she downed in one gulp. Added a few glowworms, Calla said, brightened the sour face. Agatha spat a spray of red. Really, dear, I know weddings are putrid things, but try not to look so hostile. Her mother nodded ahead. The elders already despise us. Don't give them some more reasons. Agatha glanced at the three wizened, bearded men in black top hats and knee-length gray cloaks, milling between the seats and shaking hands. The length of their beards appeared to be indicative of their relative ages, with the eldest funneling down past his chest. Why don't they approve of every marriage? Agatha asked. Because when the kidnappings kept happening, the elders blamed the women like me, her mother said, picking dandruff from her hair. Back then, if you weren't married by the time you finished school, people thought you were a witch. So the elders forced marriages for all of the unwed. She managed a wry smile. But even force can't make a man wed me. Agatha remembered that no boy at the school wanted her for the ball either until suddenly she felt even grimmer. When the kidnappings continued, the elders softened their stance and approved marriages instead. But I still remember the terrible arrangements, said her mother, digging nails into her scalp. Stefan suffered worst of all. Why? What happened to him? Calla's hand dropped, as if she'd forgotten her daughter was listening. Nothing, dear. Nothing that matters anymore. But you said... Agatha heard her name called, and she spun to see Sophie waving her into the front row seat.
I'm thinking he always loved the best friend, and he was forced to marry Sophie's mom.
Probably. Mm-hmm. Side by side in the first pew, a few feet from the altar, Agatha kept waiting for Sophie to crack, but her friend clung to her smile even as her father joined the priest at the altar. The fiddlers began the procession, and Jacob and Adam strode roses down the aisle in matching white suits. After months of fighting her father, fighting for attention, fighting real life, Sophie had changed. You and me, Aggie. All Agatha had ever wanted was to be enough for Sophie to need her as much as she needed Sophie. And now, at last, she won her happy ending. But in her seat, Agatha didn't feel happy at all. Something was bothering her about the wedding, something worming through her heart. Before she could pinpoint it, the fiddlers slowed their tune, everyone under the tent stood, and Onara waddled down the aisle. Agatha watched Sophie carefully, expecting her friend to finally betray herself, but Sophie didn't flinch, even as she took her new stepmother's bulbous hairdo, pudgy behind, and dress smudged with what looked like cake frosting. Dearest friends and family, the priest began, we are gathered here to witness the union of these two souls. Stefan took Onara's hand, and Agatha felt even more dismissal. Her back hunched, her lips pouted. Across the aisle, her mother was glaring at her. Agatha sat up and faked a smile. In love, happiness comes from honesty, from committing to one that we need, the priest continued. Agatha felt Sophie gently shake her hand as if they both had everything they needed right here. May you grow a love that fulfills you, a love that lasts forever after. Agatha's palms started to sweat. Because you chose this love, you choose this ending to your story. Her hand was dripping now, but Sophie didn't let go. And now this ending is yours eternally. Agatha's heart jackhammered. Her skin burned up. And if there is no objections, then this union is sealed forever. Agatha pinched forward, sick to her stomach. I now pronounce you, then she saw it, man and Her finger was glowing brilliant gold. She let out a cry of shock. Sophie turned in surprise. Something flew between them, throwing them both to the ground. Agatha wheeled to feel another arrow graze her throat before she lunged away. She could hear children crying, chairs falling, feet stumbling as the mob stampeded for cover, dozens of golden arrows whizzing past, gouging holes in the tent. Agatha spun for Sophie, but the tent tore off its stakes, toppled over and shrieked over the shrieking ground, and swallowed her until she couldn't see anything but muffled shadows flailing beyond the canvas. Breathless, Agatha crawled on all fours over a shattered altar, hands clawing through the mud, trampled garlands as arrows landed between the shearing ribs. Who is doing this? Who would destroy a wedding? Agatha froze. Now her finger was shining brighter than before. It can't be. She heard a girl's screams ahead, screams she knew, sweating, shivering. Agatha skimmed under overturned chairs, shoving the last fringe of tent off her, until she felt a blaze of sunlight and scraping from the front garden, expecting carnage. But people were just standing there, silent, still, watching, the sky full of arrows from every direction, arrows from the woods. Agatha shielded herself in horror, then realized the arrows weren't aimed for her. They weren't aimed at any of the villagers. No matter where they came from out of the woods, their shafts curved at the last second, tearing towards one and only one target. Aye! Sophie ran towards the house, ducking and batting arrows away from her glass heels. Agatha! Agatha, help! There was no time, for a shaft almost sliced off her head, and Sophie ran down a hill, fast as she could, arrows following her all the way. Why would they want me dead? Sophie wailed to stained glass martyrs and statues of saints. Agatha stood beside her in the empty pews. It had been 2 weeks since Sophie started hiding in the church, the only place where the arrows couldn't pursue her. Again and again she tried to break out, but the arrows returned with a vengeance, slashing from the woods, followed by spears, axes, daggers, and darts. By the third day, it was clear there was no escape. Whoever wanted to kill her would wait there as long as it took. At first, Sophie saw no reason to panic. The townspeople brought her food, taking heed of her fatal allergies to wheat, sugar, dairy, and raw meat. Agatha brought her herbs and roots she needed to make her creams, and Stephen brought assurances he wouldn't rude until his daughter was brought home safely. But the townsmen uselessly...
What?
Rude.
Yeah, it's R-E-W-E-D. Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Okay.
That's a new word right there.
Mm-hmm.
R-O?
R-E-W.
Rude.
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 I'm guessing it means to get married. R-E-W-E-D. She is currently looking this up.
Real time.
Real time, looking it up.
R-E-W-E-D.
Rude.
Rude definition. Oh, re-wed.
Oh, re-wed. Ah, there we go.
To wed again.
To read again. Okay, I just read it wrong.
The second I typed it into Google, I was like, oh.
Re-wed.
Re-wed. I feel like there should be a hyphen in there. I feel like it should, though. Until his daughter was brought home safe, with the townsmen uselessly combing the forest for the assassins, and the town scroll branded Sophie the brave little princess for taking the burden of yet another curse, while the elders ordered her statue to be given a fresh coat of paint. Which I mean, if I was Sophie, I'm getting all the attention. Mm-hmm. My statue's getting my statue's getting redone, and my dad's not getting married.
I mean, let's be honest though, it's gonna become a pigeon toilet again anyway.
Yeah, but she wanted to be the center of attention.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if she's doing this to herself. Because it seems like something she would do.
This is fair. This is a fair assumption.
Especially because Agatha is realizing that she has her powers back.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if she's doing this to herself.
Maybe she doesn't know it, though.
I don't know. Soon children clamored once more for autographs. The village anthem was amended to "Blessed is our Sophie," and townsmen took turns keeping watch over the church. There was even talk of a permanent one-woman show in the theater once she was out of danger. La Reine Sophie, an epic 3-hour celebration of my achievements. Sophie raptured, smelling the symphony of bouquets that filled the aisle. A sweet cabaret to stir the blood, a circus intermezzo with wild lions and trapeze, and a rousing rendition of I Am a Simple Woman. Too close. Oh, Agatha, how I've longed to find my place in the stagnant, monotonous town. All I needed was a big part enough to hold me. Suddenly, she looked worried. You don't think they'll stop trying to kill me, do you? This is the best thing that's ever happened. But then the attacks got worse. The first night, firebombs launched from the woods and annihilated Belle's house, leaving her whole family homeless. On the second night, boiling oil flooded from the trees, immolating an entire cottage lane. In smoldering ruins, the assassins left the same message burnt onto the ground. Give us Sophie. But the next morning, the elders took to the square to calm rioting villagers. Stefan had already made it to the church. This is the only way the elders and I can protect you, he told his daughter, bearing a hammer and padlocks. Agatha wouldn't leave, so he locked her in there too. I thought her story was over, Sophie cried, listening to a mob of villagers outside chanting. Send her back! Send her back! She slumped in her seat. Why don't they want you? Why am I always the villain? Why am I always locked in? Next to her, Agatha gazed at the marble saint in the friends above the altar, lunging for an angel. He stretched his strong arm across his chest as he followed the angel wherever it went. Aggie! Agatha broke from her trance and turned. You do have a way of making enemies. I tried to be good, Sophie said. I tried to be just like you. Agatha felt sick again. This one, the one she'd been trying to keep down. Aggie, do something. Sophie grabbed her arm. You always fix things. Maybe I'm not as good as you think, Agatha murmured, and pulled away, pretending to polish her clump. In the silence, she could feel Sophie watching her. Aggie? Yeah? Why did your finger glow? Agatha's muscles clenched. What? I saw it, said Sophie softly. At the wedding. Agatha threw her a glance. Probably a trick of the light. Magic doesn't work here. Right. Agatha held her breath. She could feel Sophie thinking. But the teachers never relocked our fingers, did they? She told, her friend said. The magic follows emotion. That's what they told us. Agatha shifted. So? You didn't look happy at the wedding, Sophie said. You sure you didn't? Are you sure something didn't make you upset enough to do some magic? Agatha met her eyes. Sophie searched her face, seeing right through her. I know you, Agatha. Agatha gripped the pew. I know why you were sad. Sophie, I didn't mean it, Agatha blurted. You were upset with my father, said Sophie, for all he put me through. Agatha goggled at her. She recovered and nodded. Right. Uh-huh. You got me. At first, I thought you had done the spell to stop the wedding, but that doesn't make any sense now, does it? Sophie said with a snort. That would mean that you sent the arrows for me. Agatha croaked a laugh, trying not to look at her. Just a trick of the light, Sophie sighed, like you said. I sat in silence and listened to the chants. Don't worry about my father. He and I'll be fine, said Sophie. The witch won't come back, Aggie. Not as long as we're friends. Her voice was more naked then. Agatha had never heard it. Agatha looked up surprised. You make me happy, Agatha, said Sophie. It just took me too long to see it. Agatha tried to hold her gaze, but all she could see was the saint above the altar, hand lunging towards her like a prince reaching for a princess. You'll see. We'll come up with a plan like always, Sophie said, reapplying pink lipstick between yawns, but maybe a little beauty nap first. She curled up on the pew like a cat, pillow in her stomach. Agatha saw that it was her friend's favorite stitched with a blonde princess and her prince embraced beneath the words ever after. But Sophie had revised the prince on her sewing kit. Now he had a boxy, dark hair, goonish bug eyes, and a black dress. Agatha watched her best friend fall asleep a few breaths later, free from nightmares for the first time in weeks.
Who is he supposed to look like?
Her. So the blonde, it was supposed to be Agatha and...
You mean Sophie?
Yeah, Sophie and Agatha. She had the blonde princess.
She changed the prince into
Agatha.
Got it. Okay.
Because she's like, we're best friends and we don't need no princes.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
We don't need no man. He had boxy hair, dark hair, goonish bug eyes, and a black dress. Agatha watched her best friend fall asleep a few breaths later, free from nightmares for the first time in weeks. As the chants outside the church grew louder, "Send her back! Send her back!" Agatha stared at Sophie's pillow, and her stomach wrenched that sick feeling. The same feeling she felt looking at the storybook prints in her kitchen. The same feeling she felt watching the man and wife exchange vows. The same feeling she felt when she held Sophie's hand, growing stronger and stronger until her finger had glowed with a secret so terrible, so unforgivable, that she'd ruin a fairy tale. For in that single moment, watching the wedding she'd never have, Agatha had wished for something she'd never thought possible. She wished for a different ending to her story, an ending with someone else. That's when the arrows came for Sophie, the arrows that wouldn't stop, no matter how she tried to take her wish back.
Ew. So she accidentally did send it towards her without realizing it.
She did.
So it actually wasn't Sophie who did it. Not by her.
Wow.
But it's not like Agatha said, "I want Sophie dead." She just said she didn't. She wanted a different ending. Yeah, she needed to be more specific. She wanted Tedros.
Because he said with magic you have to be very specific.
Yeah.
It's like the wish
thoughts
fish.
and feelings. Yeah.
And
Oh boy. Wait, how is she gonna fix this? I don't know. That's awful.
No takesy backsies.
Apparently. Gosh. That's awful.
Hey, bestie. Yeah, I kind of did that.
Tried to kill you.
I didn't try to kill you.
Sophie was trying so hard to be good. And,
didn't work out.
Yep. Well, then Agatha's the one who accidentally.
She's like, oh, yeah, my bad.
Oopsie.
My bad.
All right.
Well, let us know what you guys think about this chapter and what are your predictions for the next chapter, or even possibly further down along with the book. And until then,
just a reminder, this isn't going to be, like, we don't have a set schedule to meet up right now.
For this book.
So,
yeah.
We're gonna try and record as much as we can, when we can, but...
So stay tuned.
Yeah.
We'll try.
It might be a slow release.
Yes. Yes.
But there will be a release.
But it will be released.
Yes.
Just seriously.
All right, guys.
All right, bye.
All right, see you next time.